Hello foodies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of a restaurant on Mont-Saint-Michel island called the Mere Poulard. It's a very famous restaurant, a very famous island. And it gets a bad rap for being very touristy, but I think people just have to know kind of the history and they miss the historical context completely. This is not Disneyland. This is a pilgrimage site back to the 9th century. So you have to kind of take it in this context. So I did another video on the actual hotel stay where I stayed there. I had a lovely time. That's on my other channel, Trophy Travel Experiences. I'll try and put that at the end of this video. But it was started in 1888 by Annette and Victor Poulard, who created this inn in Mont-Saint-Michel. And basically, Annette Poulard devoted her life to preparing meals for pilgrims. And at this location. So she spent 40 years in the kitchen and she created a number of dishes, and among them was the famous omelet that she cooks over a fire in the grand fireplace. So there's a historical context to this, not just it's a huge omelet that they charge $45 for you that they made out of nowhere. So there is a historical context. So think about this: if you were a pilgrim coming over, crossing the water without that bridge in quicksand with all this wind, you come to the island, you're waiting to get invited to the abbey at the top, and you come to this inn at the bottom of Mont-Saint-Michel, have this fine restaurant, have this huge omelet, and you're really happy. So that's the historical context of this. And when you take it in that context, it doesn't really seem as expensive. So the inside of the restaurant, as you can see, is quite nice. It's old school, it's not fancy and modern, but it's nice. And actually the service was pretty good. The manager there really runs it like with a whip. She's really on top of the staff and stuff like that, but she does run a really tight ship, and the food was good and the service was good, but she really keeps people in line, and I think she's very particular about making sure the experience for customers is good. A couple of videos. The first one is of the room, and then the next one is just of the fire where they make the omelet, and then the next one after that is going to be with sound, showing the person mixing the omelet. So everyone says this omelet is not worth it and touristy, but look at how much work that goes into it. First, there's a historical context to this. This is how it was made for the pilgrims in the 1800s when they visited. So they do the fire. It's over an open fire. Then they kind of put the batter in, and you saw the guy was working on the batter for minutes, kind of making it smooth. And then he pours this in and then puts it over an open fire. And then what they do is they fire it. Then they actually put it on the little kind of top there, and then just let it kind of simmer. And it's funny because I didn't look at it as closely as I should have, but when they did that, it actually expands. So that's how it gets more and more fluffy. It's almost like a souffle. So this was done on a couple of different occasions. It's just like really nice. And when they do it at night, there's a little bit more time. They're more lively. In the daytime, they've got all these people waiting and rushing them. So it's really not as fun. This is much better experience when it's at nighttime. It's relaxed. They let me film. And then here he is taking it off this and then putting it onto a plate. And there's, they're very careful about it. It's not burned. I didn't find it burned at all. So it was excellent. And the whole experience took about 4 or 5 minutes for them to make the actual omelet. So it does take a lot of time. This is our table, and again, nice at night, looking at the avenue or the grand kind of road. No one's there. It's at night. It's very quiet. It's very serene, and it's a wonderful experience as compared if you were there at lunchtime. All you see is people outside waiting and just staring at your food. So it would not be the same experience. This is their wine list, and again, this reputation that they're somehow touristy, overpriced, not true. They have some Bordeaux wines for €8.50 per glass. They have Bordeaux, wines that are decent for €86. They have some cheaper ones. They have some Rhone wines in the €28. So that's kind of, I think that's what I drank. Just a bottle of Rhone, Côte de Rhone wine, €28. Wonderful. I believe you can eat a la carte, but we took the set menus, which is a starter, entree, and a dessert. So for this, there's a menu traditional, which is €55, but I took the $65 one that includes the famous omelet, because I think the omelet itself is €45. So it's a really good deal, in my opinion. So if you do the set menu, you can have a choice of your cheese and desserts. And again, I chose the omelet with Grand Marnier. So that itself is €22, and the famous omelet, the savory omelet, is €45. So there you already got your money. So you make back that, and then you get in a way, a free starter already for this. Start with some bread. I enjoyed it. It's kind of a nice design. But again, very quaint restaurant. I wouldn't say it's, very, very high end, but I really enjoyed what it had, which was the omelet. My starter is a classic Normandy dish, which is the perfect egg pan fried mushrooms with parsley and toasted bread emulsion. Again, this dish is really just to feel the texture of the egg, the softness of that. And so that is kind of a Normandy specialty. And it really is a texture dish. I liked it. Next is the main course, which is the real star. It's the special omelet cooked over wood fire, black truffle from Périgold, potatoes with bacon and truffle veal sauce on the side. And as you can see, it is quite a sizable omelet. So it's quite nice for the price. The sauce is nice, and it's not burnt, and you'll see in the video. I really enjoyed it. I mean, could you do that at home? People think it's just an omelet. It's not an omelet, as I showed you with the previous videos. It takes, I would say, between maybe 8 to 10 minutes to prepare this omelet, because they have to do the batter, then they have to have it on the fire, then they have to have it sit on the fire, then they have to plate it. It's not just like you or I flipping this in our kitchens at home. Hello everyone, I'm Mere Poulard in Mont-Saint-Michel, trying their famous souffle, and this is the truffle version. So it's €45 a person. It's looks great, smells great. So let's cut into it. Look at this. It's really nice, actually. It's got a little sauce on it. So we put a little sauce on it. It's quite exciting, actually. Let's try it out. It's actually really good. Bon appetit. So I'm not sure why it gets a bad rep on this type of stuff, but for me, the service was good. The actual omelet was nice, and so I think it really gets a bad rap. For dessert, you can choose anything from their dessert list, and I chose the most expensive thing, which is the sweet omelet flambé with Grand Marnier caramelized apples and pears. And it's really done flambé style, so it's quite nice. I'm just finishing my meal at the Mere Poulard. It's been a wonderful meal. The starter was great. It's the perfect boiled egg with some mushrooms. Nice dish. And then we had the omelet with truffles. That was excellent. And now we finish with a dessert omelet. And it looks like it's got some apples, some applesauce here. It looks wonderful, and it's a huge size. So all this, it's a price fixed menu for $65. I think it's a good deal. So I'm really happy with the whole experience. So I really enjoyed the caramelized apples and the pears. That really paired well, and it's kind of neat to see a savory omelet and then this sweet omelet. All in all, I had a terrific experience. The service was quite nice. And the historical context is so neat. This is the same place that so many pilgrims in the 1800s have eaten. Famous people have eaten here, including Theodore Roosevelt, Prime Minister George Clemenceau, the Mellons, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Claude Monet, Pablo Picasso. The list goes on, and it's really neat to be at a place that has that historical context of providing food for people who wanted it. You can read her website, but the website of the hotel, but it's so interesting that they try to serve people so hospitably. Many times they serve people who didn't have money to pay for things. So really good story. And I strongly recommend this restaurant if you are ever in Mont-Saint-Michel. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and until next time, happy eating.